You just heard Tegan and Sarah. It's called Hell, and our first guest is ranked by DJ Mag as one of the top 10 DJs in the world, Sander Van Doorn. How you doing?
Yeah, really good actually. How are you?
I'm not too shabby. So I'm kind of curious because the first time I was introduced to your music, it was a lot of remakes. There was a Police remake, there was a Yellow remake. So I was just curious, growing up, what kind of music you listened to? Was it a lot of 80s?
Actually, yeah. A big reason actually for me to go into the music industry was my brother, who's 10 years old, and I used to buy a lot of like vinyls from Depeche Mode, Toto, Aha, obviously the Police. So he had this big collection of like vinyl records, and I got to play them at the age of 6-7 years old. So I kind of got to know those records at a very early stage, and I think that kind of is set the basis for my musical interest. So I think that's why, I kind of went back to all those old songs.
What was kind of that one song that you were like, I should probably DJ this song?
That was actually the Message in a Bottle song a few years ago. I actually came across this acoustic solo of Sting himself doing the Police track Message in a Bottle live on stage, and it only contained a guitar and his vocal, and I was like, oh man, I can do something with this. So started working on it just as a set record at first, and then the record label said, well, we can send it to Chesto, let's see what he thinks, and from then on it just blew up. And I think that was a really big step in my career, to be honest. It kind of set my name there. It's like people who Sander Van Doorn, oh, it's the guy who did Message in a Bottle. So it was a good first step for me, to be honest.
Because you're pretty young to be globally recognized. How long have you been doing this before people heard that record?
About 6 years, to be honest. So I kind of started with producing, and 1.5 years later I got my first gig over in Switzerland, and I remember just working the nuts, like very nervous, look into the crowd, make sure it's all set straight. So it was a really nervous set there, and 2 weeks later I actually had to play in Poland for 10,000 people in like this dome area for the second time, and I remember I was really nervous. So that's how I got to learn how to DJ, like thrown into the deep end to just work my way up there. So that was about 6 years ago.
Let's talk about some of the other music you've done. There's this great record with Robbie Williams. How did you two team up?
Well, it kind of started, I was taking off myself to listen to his last album, Rootbox, and there was this track on it that I've listened to a few times, and there was one particular part in the vocals which I really liked. So I took that part of the vocals and made kind of like a remix out of that track with new production, and sent it to his management, and they were like, oh man, this is fantastic. So they sent it to Robbie, and he was like, Jesus Christ, is that track I did? So it turned out to be completely different. So they decided, you know what, we're going to do a first project between you and Robbie Williams. One thing that led to the other, and just blew up there again. So really good.
Yeah, because he's a huge name overseas. And
yes, yeah, he tried in America, I think, but especially in Europe, he is massive.
Yeah, the Americans just didn't get his brand of humor.
Well, not yet.
Well, we totally get his humor at the show, so let's check out your mix now. This is Sander Van Doorn versus Robbie Williams. Close my eyes.
This is Sander Van Doorn, and you're now part of the mass movement with Joe Bermudez. It's gonna blow your mind.
Maybe it's a habit, maybe it's a sin, but I find out when I try it on, it crawls beneath my skin. Once it gets inside me, it won't go. I close my eyes and see you better than before. Then I feel you touch me, and it's 1984. I know what you will say before you start. Once it gets inside me, it won't go. I close my eyes and see you better than before. Then I feel you touch me and it's 1984. I know what you will say before you start.
Movement now at massmovementradio.com.